So this video is going to be about my review of Lisa Marie's memoir, From Here to the Great Unknown, that she did with her daughter Riley, and had help with narration from Julie Roberts. I first want to say the first part of the book is very, very, very heavy, especially when she talks about losing her father, Elvis, and having to deal with her mother, Priscilla. Priscilla was mean and cruel, treated Lisa like shit. When Lisa was being targeted by Edwards, all Priscilla made him do is go and apologize. Edwards would guilt trip Lisa into making her feel sorry for him, but he continued to do it. And one of the other times that Edwards did what he did, Priscilla saw it for herself and took Lisa with her and fled. I would have been rocking orange if that were me. Okay. This particular part of the book where she talks about her dad and how much she loved him and how much she adored him and how he came to parent-teacher conferences for her, it put a smile on my face. But when it came to her losing her dad and having to deal with her mom, and how her mom didn't really want to be a mom, and she would leave Lisa with nannies and people at the Scientology Center, Church of Scientology, that shattered me, okay? Because Lisa didn't deserve that, all right? And she talks about wanting to try to escape that life, being the child of Elvis, wanting to have a normal life for her and her children, telling Danny Keough that she was told by Michael, I want you to leave your husband for me. I'm in love with you. I won't be with you. I want you to have my children, etc., etc. Her having to look Danny dead square in the face and say that, and then have Danny be pissed about it, that broke my heart too, because they genuinely cared about each other, okay? Michael, at that time and point in his life when Lisa was around, was in his life, both as a friend and as a wife. He did not put Lisa first. He put his music and career first. He put Lisa and her children last. He also had his yes people in his ear all the time. When it came to the doctors and the yes people and the drug usage that she talks heavily about, because she saw it happen with Elvis, she saw it happening with Michael, and she said, I don't want to do this no more. I love you, but I can't do this no more. And then she divorces him. They go back and forth for like 4 more years. She cuts the toxic ties of his behavior. And he calls her back in 2005 and says, you were right. There's people around me that want me out, that want me dead. She's like, if you're going to go to trial, please have your head on straight. Please make sure that you're listening to your team of legal experts, your lawyers. And he's like, he's begging her to come back. And she's like, I can't. I'm done. And then there came a time after she left Michael and cut ties with him, Michael Jackson. She had to cut ties with people around her because they were spending her money. That was hers, for her to have. That was part of her inheritance. That is heartbreaking in itself, because she was constantly trying to find peace for herself and for her children. She did not want her children to be caught up in who she was. She wanted her children to have a normal upbringing, and she worked really hard to give Riley, Benjamin, Harper, and Finley that. Then Riley talks about the surgery that Lisa had to help manage her weight. I guess she was having a lot of internal problems with that, having a lot of stomach pain, and she wasn't feeling good. They also talk about the loss of Benjamin. She talks about the loss of Benjamin like that totally destroyed her. If you thought losing her dad was bad, her losing Benjamin it just shattered her soul. It's like a deep, dark hole she couldn't get out of. I mean, she was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I want to be with Ben. And on the 1-year anniversary of his death, Benjamin told her to go to Hawaii. And she went to try and clear her head, to figure out what her next steps were going to be. Because originally she wanted to be with Benjamin. And she stopped having those thoughts and wanting to have that happen. And then they talked about the surgery she had involving her stomach. And I guess somebody did something to fuck that up because she was having constant stomach pains. She was taking weight loss pills. She had lost like 50-some pounds leading up to the Golden Globes. And after the Golden Globes and having Elvis's birthday, she didn't feel good, She had asked Danny, her first ex-husband, to bring her some Tums because her stomach hurt really bad. She didn't know what else to do. And then when Danny went to go bring her Tums, she was already on the floor, unresponsive. They had to call an ambulance to bring her to the hospital. Riley was in Canada working on a project, and she was trying to get home. And I guess telepathically, she was telling her mom, if you want to go, go. If you want to stay, stay. And she was texting her father on the plane, and she's like, is Mom okay? Danny didn't respond. The next text is, Mom, Dad, is she dying? Didn't respond. And then when she was heading home on her way there towards the landing, Danny said, Mom's gone. She died a few minutes ago. I didn't want to tell you this way, but since you asked, she's gone. And then having to talk about the funeral procession of how you have her casket. You have her little cart that she used when she was at Graceland. They used her cart to kind of guide her casket to the burial spot next to Benjamin. That shattered me. Like, I don't know how she managed to live as long as she did with what she had internally going on. Losing Ben. Like, I don't know what it's like to lose a child. I've never been in that predicament. I don't know what it's like. But to lose a parent at 9 years old and then have your whole life flipped upside down and have a mom not give a shit about you until you get older, until you start having kids of your own and you're trying to patch up the relationship. I don't know how she dealt with all of this. Like, I don't get it. And I honestly wish Elvis had lived long enough to watch her, kind of guide her through this whole process, because it seemed like from the time she lost him, she lost all guidance from her father. She wanted someone to guide her. She wanted her mother to guide her. Her mother wasn't around, so she latched on to Elvis's relatives for that, to give her guidance, to put her in the right spot. She wasn't close to Vernon. I honestly don't know what it was like for her, but to kind of hear certain things from her perspective now, it makes me despise her mom even more, if that makes sense. I don't know how she was able to go through that, have children of her own, lose her only son, and have to go on and keep fighting. Like, she didn't want to fight no more. She didn't want to keep battling, these constant things she was battling internally, with not just physically, but with spiritually with herself. Because she was very intuitive. She knew when something wasn't right. She knew when something didn't feel right. And it's just, I don't know. I will say I do love her more now. As sad as that may sound, she deserved a better life. She deserved to have peace. And she fought so hard throughout her whole entire life to have that. And what breaks my heart even more is that she had to tell her first ex-husband, look, Michael Jackson wants me to leave you for him. And he wants me to have his children. Can you imagine what that's like, having to hear that from your famous wife and have her tell you, Michael Jackson is in love with me and he wants me to ditch you? She actually did it. And shattered Danny's heart in the process. But at the end, she was still great friends with Danny. I mean, she wanted to get back together with him, and he wasn't willing to do that because that shattered him completely, you know? He fought his whole life protecting her throughout her adult life. So, this is just my point of view. If you're going to read it, just know that it's heavy. The subject matter is very heavy. If you have the audio book, the audio version, it's going to be even more heavy because you'll hear her talk about certain periods in her life. Yeah, it shattered my heart. So I'm going to stop here, and if I have the energy, I'll do a part 2. This is just a short snippet of my review for Lisa's book, From Here to the Great Unknown. All right. Thanks. Bye.